Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Zone Star State podcast. I'm Matthew Brune, and joining me once again is Ishmael Johnson. Today we're going to talk about the transfer portal, something that's been going on, and we're recording this for we have to date it now because things could change in the next 5 minutes. I don't know. Friday, April 11th at about 1 p.m. here. As we're recording this, Malaysia Fulwiley just entered the portal from South Carolina. Not that that has anything to do with Texas, at least at the moment it doesn't. But that's the type of world we're living in here. So,
Yeah.
we start with
Yep.
the transfer portal. We have a couple players also like returning as well that is
Yes.
substantial in the
Yeah.
state. We can start on. Let's start on the women's side. Let's start on the
I was
women's
about to
side.
say, I think the women's side probably has the biggest singular move.
Yes. Olivia Miles
Yeah.
not return. Olivia Miles is transferring to TCU.
Yep.
This is massive. She is the number 2 player in the transfer portal, only behind Tanaya Latson from Florida State. And I don't know if anybody had watched women's basketball this year, you know Olivia Miles and the playmaker she is. She's a point guard. She has good size, tremendous vision, just an awesome player at the guard position. And she fits perfectly what I think Mark Campbell wants to do. And I think she knows that. I think he knows that. And then also, I won't undersell. There is a buy-in right now with TCU women's basketball that financially gets them in this position as well. So
Oh yeah.
everything is going. Mark Campbell has the buy-in of the boosters. He has the culture. He has the system. And now he's getting the players in as well. He had Haley Van Lith last year. Now he gets Olivia Miles. What are your thoughts?
I mean, look, I didn't expect this era of NIL to. Let me rephrase that. I mentioned earlier on the other half of the other podcast we did on head coaches, where a lot of schools are showing where they're putting their focus and where they're putting their financial NIL investment. TCU is clearly looking to the women's basketball market and saying, we can be players here, right? Maybe more than the men's team right now. I think you could probably argue that they're more invested in the women's team than they are the men's team right now. Because you look at, again, do you remember who they had before she ended up leaving again, who TCU had committed last year?
Who before
It's
she ended
Haley
up?
Cavender.
Oh, yes.
Haley Cavender,
Yeah.
another NIL, superstar,
Yeah.
right? That's the level that the fact that they were going to bring in Sedona Prince, Maddie Schur, Haley Van Lith, Haley Cavender, like they are big swinging players in the women's market. And Olivia Miles, let's not act like this thing was like played out. This one was like within a week. Everybody was like, she's going to TCU, like she is going to TCU, and it was like this is the presumed number 2 overall pick in the WNBA draft,
Yes.
and TCU is now able to have that play. By the way, they're probably not done, right? Like we can talk about Clara Silva as well, bringing her in from Kentucky. But again, they're probably not done. They're going to be in the market. Now you have the money, and now you have the coach to be able to say, look what I did with Haley Van Lith. I revitalized her career, right? Look what I did with Sedona Prince. I revitalized her career. All these players can just look around. They got Talia Parker from A&M. Talia Parker was a 5-star recruit, right? So they have the future in Parker and Silva, and then they have somebody like Miles, who next to Maddie, I mean, that's a top 5, top 3 backcourt in the country automatically, like easily.
And you mentioned Clara Silva, 6'7" from Kentucky. I mean, you just rotate in, you swap one 6'7" out for another 6'7". Not saying she's going to be Sedona Prince, but still, you have that role thread, and you have the player that can screen and kind of run the offense the way that he wants to. I just can't understate the importance of Olivia Miles and how good she is at this. Like, that is an All-American pickup. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And in a sport where women's basketball, typically you don't see the All-Americans transfer, like, especially from established programs. Like Tanaya Latson from Florida State. Florida State was the 6th seed this year. They were not a big-time program. That's Notre Dame she's leaving.
Yeah.
Like, she's leaving Notre Dame. She's leaving Hannah Hidalgo. She's leaving that program and coming to TCU, to where she's going to have the ball in her hands a ton. Her stats are going to be incredible. She's going to put up insane numbers. And while she's not she's a very, very different player from Haley Van Lith, like this, the numbers aren't going to be too dissimilar. She's probably going to have more assists. Then the scoring will be about the same.
Right.
And I think TCU is going to have another top 10, top 5 offense in the country again.
And by the way, like there's another, you know this, there's another big from the DFW area that got in the portal who has a lot of
Ooh, yeah.
potential, and Samaya Smith. And again, I'm not reporting anything,
That'd be
but like
interesting.
the fact that TCU is now in the conversation to get those type of players, like they, like if they get her, like that's her and Silva in the front court, and like it's again, TCU being a massive player in the transfer portal, like a huge player, is something I did not expect. If you would ask me this 2 years ago, but I got to credit Mark Campbell for, it's not any coach can come in there and inspire a bunch of boosters to be like, yeah, let's throw a couple million at this program, right?
Yeah.
A program that's
Um,
never made the tournament and never won in the tournament until this year.
yeah. I'm just looking at. I know Donovan Hunter was young, so they get Donovan Hunter back,
Yes.
who was a
Yep.
role player and will play more. Taylor
They should get
Bigsby
Roberson back, I believe.
Taylor Bigby was a redshirt junior this
Yep.
past year, so they'll get her back. Leah Roberson, also a junior, they'll get her back. Again, Prince and Van Lith and Eminopu are all gone.
Right.
Connor was a senior as well. I assume she's gone.
I believe she was gone. Yeah.
So that group is gone, but yeah, you bring in Miles, you bring in Clara Silva here, and
Mhm.
then Maddie Scher is back. I think it's an incredible team. I mean, they're immediately the clear favorites in the Big 12,
Yes.
regardless. And I know Baylor. We got to talk a little bit about Baylor's additions here, but
Yep.
like, I'm sorry here. I think Olivia Miles is the Joker when you're playing spades. Like that's just
Yeah, basically. That's a
you're
yeah,
done.
that move alone, that makes the country go, "Oh, okay."
Yes, exactly. So that's gonna be fun. We get to cover Olivia Miles now. How about that?
I was about to say that's awesome.
I'm ready for that. So yeah, there's TCU. Uh, we don't have to spend too long on it, but Roy Harmon's back for Texas. I don't
Yeah.
know. I think the only decision for her, she's not a WNBA player. Like she's not, and that's fine. So I know there was like some runs like, oh, does she enter the portal or something like that? Every single like I'm here at LSU. It was like Michaela Williams, who's from Louisiana. People were like, oh, is she gonna
Mhm,
enter the portal? It's like everybody you're asking if they're gonna enter the portal.
mhm.
Roy, I think, is very, very comfortable. We know how close she is with Vic Schaefer. I think Texas is taking care of her financially. But getting Roy Harmon back is still a story because she is such a great defender and such a good leader and a veteran at this point. So
Mhm.
good for Texas to get her back, if nothing else, to further sustain their culture.
Yeah.
Who's next? Talia Scott to Baylor?
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it because they also should also mention Kiara Pemberton, who was
Yeah.
a recent addition from North Dakota. Not as high profile as Talia Scott, all conference scorer from Auburn, 20 points a game in the SEC. Pemberton still, gives them she's kind of that undersized forward a little bit, but gives them rebounding and size that they always need. I'm very interested to see what she does in the Big 12 coming in from South and North Dakota. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it looks like we were kind of curious to see what Baylor would do, kind of both the men and women. Baylor would do post men, obviously more disappointing year, but the women still kind of felt like they had that ceiling. And what do? They go and figure. They basically look at the perimeter and said, you know what, we just did not have that scorer on the outside, that high level score on the outside that maybe held us down in certain games. And they go and get Talia Scott.
Yeah, Talia Scott, like you said, first of all, she was injured this past year, but before that,
Yeah,
as a freshman, Arkansas was phenomenal, 22 points per
yeah.
game. And I think there is a real, like you said, urgency here with no disrespect to Sarah Andrews and the
Mhm.
players of like Yaya Felder and like
Right.
those type of players. But there was too often where if I'm if I'm Nikki Collin, I'm like, this is just ridiculous. We can't have these games where there's like 3 points and then like
Right.
5 points from like the backcourts players here. We know we're getting like Aaronette Von Lay became like their best player basically down the stretch,
Mhm.
which is great. But then like Little Paige Bugs, also probably their best player. Bella Fauntleroy, also one of their best players. So now it's just the backcourt really. Like you get
Right.
Fauntleroy back as a senior, you get Little Paige Bugs senior. So you're fine at the 3-4 spots here. Now it's figuring out the guards. Because honestly, they don't have any guards at this point. So they needed to go
No.
add some. And Talia Scott is the first one that you think of. I think she'll be able to shoot a lot. Her Nikki Collins' system is so different from Mark Campbell's.
Mm-hmm.
And I do think she needs more of a scoring guard as opposed to Mark Campbell needed like he kind of made Haley Van Lith into more of a passer, but like the Olivia Miles
Yeah.
style. So I think Talia Scott's a much better fit here. I do think coming off the injury, I think she'll be fine. She'll be a redshirt sophomore. She'll have 3 years of eligibility still.
Mm-hmm.
So we're talking
Yeah.
about a player with a lot in front of her. I just think at the very, very least, she is better than what they've had the past few seasons. And she's could be the best guard they've had since Collins been there. Am I forgetting somebody obvious?
No, because I mean, we've
Like,
been
it's literally
waiting
been Sarah
for.
Andrews the past 4 years, 3
Right. I
years.
was about to, yeah, like that was the thing. We were kind of always waiting for Sarah Andrews to be that superstar guard, and it just never kind of manifested. And I think Nikki Collin was hoping that she would turn into that too. So yeah, I'd say that Talia Scott's by good margin, probably the best, at least potentially the best guard
Potentially, yeah,
she's ever coached there.
potentially the
Yeah.
best for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking 2 years ago, Jamie Asbury and Sarah Andrews. But anyways, yeah, so I think this is significant, especially now that it's become an arms race. We weren't
Yeah.
expecting
It
this.
really has.
TCU, Baylor at the top of the Big 12 has become an arms race, and I'm sure some of these other former Pac-12 schools will get their act together. Utah,
Hmm.
obviously losing Peely, struggled a little
Yeah.
bit. Colorado lost their whole starting five from that 2 years ago team. Arizona just made a coaching change. Like those teams, I think will start getting back into. Arizona State just hired Ma, the Grand Canyon coach,
Oh,
who
Molly Miller. Yeah.
Molly Miller. Thank you. I had that, but I didn't want to say it. I didn't want to be wrong. Molly Miller. So like I think those programs will get better. Texas
Yeah.
Tech still has Krista Gerlich, so we'll see there. But like
Let's see what
regardless, you
happens
get
there.
what I'm saying here. It feels like
Yeah.
at this moment it feels like it's TCU Baylor. I'm sure there'll be a
Yeah.
third team that gets in there and is competitive, like Oklahoma State was decent and so on. So, but this is a
Sure.
big get. Talia Scott's a high level scorer.
Yep.
Um, yeah, nothing else huge. Nia Robertson. Like if we just did departures, we could do a whole podcast on like 100 departures. But Nia
I know,
Robertson did
right?
average 18 a game for SMU this past year. I'm interested to see where she ends up. At the very least, she should be
Yeah.
getting some high major, I think, attention. Like I would, if I'm Texas Tech, I'm all over it. If
Oh, right.
I'm
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm Houston, I'm all over it.
if I'm Houston, thank you. Yeah, I was like, there's another one I'm forgetting here. Yeah, if I'm Houston, I'm all over. Like, yeah, one of those. Like, that's where she needs to go.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on the women's side? Just real quick, Aaliyah Chavez commits to Oklahoma. We didn't really talk about this much, but she picked
Mm-hmm.
Oklahoma over Texas and Texas Tech. She's the best player in Texas. She's the best player in the country. You've seen her
Yeah.
plenty. I watched her in the McDonald's All American game. Have a fine game, nothing crazy. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I think there's multiple facets of this. The first being, which we can talk about in more depth, is playing style of Oklahoma compared to Texas. But then
Right.
also, obviously, there is an NIL component to where Oklahoma did, at the very least, have to match what Texas and Texas Tech were going to do, if not surpass it. I don't know the exact figures, but
Right.
Chavez was definitely a highly coveted player in terms of NIL as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think from a coverage perspective, she's still going to be around, right? She's in Oklahoma, so like they play Texas, they play A&M. We're going to be covering her. We're going to be seeing her enough. They're going to be competitive. We know that they're going to be really really good. The I think it comes down to me. It comes down for fit, right? Would I like to see her at Texas? Sure, yeah. From a coverage perspective, from a visibility perspective, sure. Did I want to see her necessarily play for Vic Schaefer? I don't think so. Right? Like that's not a shade to Vic Schaefer, but that's the style. That's a style clash. And I don't know if she would have been maximized to her ability to what she does best at Texas. Now, there's also the thing that Vic Schaefer could have just adjusted the things he done. Is like, oh, we got this generational talent. We're gonna adjust to what we do. I don't, I don't know if that would have been the case, but it would not have shocked me if he decided to budge here, where it's like, you know what, you're right, Aaliyah, we are going to be a little bit more, at least with her, let her have a little bit more perimeter of freedom than we kind of give our players typically. But again, it's not like we're not going to see her. I think that's the benefit for me is that she didn't go to like UCLA, right? Where she's
Right.
like playing in the Big Ten and is like, oh, I can't really watch her that much. It's like it's Oklahoma. We're going to see her plenty. Every game's going to be on TV in some capacity, right? Streaming or whatever. So I understand it from a basketball perspective. Again, would have liked to see her in state, but Oklahoma's again, it's like Texas tangentially right there, so it's fine.
Yeah. I will say, and I talked to a coach about this. It's like
Mm,
they thought if she went to Texas, she would get that Madison Booker green light. But
mm,
my only back pushback on that is like they have Madison Booker. So it's
right.
like I don't
Mm.
know how they would do with two play high volume shooters. Like I
And
understand
then
they
with
would just
Rory
take all
coming
the
back
shots.
potentially,
Yeah, and Roy, like I understand they would take a lot of shots, but still, he wants
right,
post touches. Still, he still doesn't love the 3-point shot as much. Not saying he can't embrace it for this player,
right.
but I still, even though she would have taken a lot of shots, it still would have been, I think, still a weird fit, especially with the pace they play at. It's just not fast enough.
Yeah,
So I do think
right,
Oklahoma just makes a lot more sense on paper.
yeah,
Let's flip to the men. Where do we start here? Let's start with JT Toppin coming back
yeah,
for
yeah.
Texas Tech.
We could start. We'll start with Tech in general.
Yeah, Tech in general. JT Toppin comes back. This was significant. I was surprised his draft stock wasn't higher.
Hmm.
I don't know. I love the
I well,
rebounding, but
yeah.
he's not this overwhelming with his size. He's not overwhelming with his defense. Obviously, he's not
Hmm.
a great shooter. He's made a couple threes, we saw, but he is more of a college player.
Right.
I'm not shocked he's back. I am shocked that it was like he's a second round guy. I was like, damn, I thought maybe late first, but
Yeah.
Texas Tech gets him back, so I'm excited.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we'll talk about Darren Williams here in a bit, but they needed. Let's put it this way: I don't think Tech. I don't think it's a surprise that after they lose Darren Williams, it comes out that JT Toppin apparently got like 4 million to come
Yeah,
back to Tech. Um, I don't. I don't think that Christian Anderson probably got much less than that. I'll say that. I don't know. I can't confirm, but like hotshot freshman who's going to be the starting point guard probably next year. I think he probably commanded at least half of that as well. Um, so I think when it comes to JT Top, and I think me and you both said it before, if this was 10 years ago, he's a lottery pick, right? Like
yes,
if this was 15 years ago, he's a lottery pick. Um, I would like to see more outside game. He doesn't need it at Tech because, like in college, you can dominate with the skills that he has, like he did this year. But like as far as NBA, I would like to see more of a mid range, longer game. But regardless, this guy's still a superstar. He's going to be one of the top three front runners for Player of the Year next year, heading into the season. So yeah, big for Tech to be able to hold on to both him and Christian Anderson.
yeah. That Chris Anderson's also the big one here because
Yeah.
Anderson allows you flexibility at that like 1-2 spot with his handle and the way he can create. Like I
And I think he does. I mean, the other thing is he pushes the tempo by himself, right? Like he's that type of player who, when he gets the green light and when he's feeling it, like the tempo of the game ramps up. Like, of course, Tech plays slow, but like by himself, he can kick up the tempo and push the ball. So, I think that's something that I'm very excited to see what he looks like in the lead guard position next year.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Darian Williams is interesting because when I first saw it, I thought there was like a real chance he might go try his NBA luck. Not like
mhm,
even if he could get up to like because dude, there's so many with the NIL now. There's so many players that like would be like JT Toppin, for instance, like high second round picks, maybe even late first round picks that are choosing to
mhm,
come back. Like if Darian Williams goes to the draft, like I'm not sure that he's not a top 40 pick now. Like when
mhm,
once all the dust settles at this point.
mhm,
So, if you can be a top 40 pick, I think there's a shot, but also that I think there's naturally, I mean, first of all, I don't know how much Texas Tech wants to spend on a roster, but I'm sure
sure,
whatever JT got and whatever Christian Anderson got, Darren Williams is like, hey, I want X. And if
yeah,
Texas Tech is doing the old, all right, go and get that on the market and then come back to me. Like
Hmm.
that whole thing where it's like, I want to pay you, but like I'm not sure. I don't want to overpay for you, I guess is the thing.
Right,
It's a
right.
real question nowadays. So I think there's a couple of aspects to it. Hopefully he comes back. We'll see. I think there's a real possibility, but we'll see how it goes
Yeah,
for him. Regardless, Texas Tech will be a top 10 team in the country next year with just JT and Christian Anderson back. That's all I
exactly.
need. Let's go to Baylor
Let's
because
do it.
oh boy,
It's a lot happening
a lot
there.
happening here.
Oh boy.
Um, Rob Wright. Let's start with Rob Wright. So it was reported that he signed a contract in quotes,
Yes.
to come back to Baylor for $1 million for next season. Then a few days later, he commits to
Oh,
BYU.
by the way, it looks like Tech just added Tyree Bryan from Santa Clara, who's a 40% 3-point shooter. So there's your Chance McMillan.
There you go. There's Chance McMillan.
So anyway, that
Um,
literally just came across like a couple minutes ago.
thank you. But then Rob Wright then is reported to go to BYU for $3.5 million. And
Yeah.
I think from BYU's perspective, this is their all-in season, obviously, with AJ DeBonsta
Hmm.
coming in. So it's like we're gonna
Right.
go get whatever guard we want.
Yeah.
And
We
Rob
we
Wright,
ain't, we ain't letting us be we ain't letting us be Rutgers this year.
no, there's no Rutgers here. They're gonna because first of all, they already got some players coming back. The
Right. They
Sanders guy,
basically like their whole team except for like 2 players is coming
yeah,
back.
they have a lot of returning talent. So now you're just kind of
Yeah.
swapping Igor and AJ, and that's a massive upgrade.
Hmm.
And so now you get Rob Wright in here for BYU, and this isn't a BYU podcast, but I think some people might look at Rob Wright's numbers and just be like, oh, 11 points per game, 4 assists or something like that. I'm like, dude, watch this kid as a freshman,
Yeah.
and I think he has the potential to be like an all conference guard next year. Like I think
Yes.
he's that good. So it's not shocking to me that he goes out and commands. It's shocking that it's 3.5, but it's like that he commands a lot of money. Like he's going to do
Right.
that. And so him playing with AJ DeBon, I mean, that is incredible. That's going
Yeah.
to be
That
must see television.
It's gonna be so much fun. I mean, look, we can talk about the miss that Jeremy Roach was, but like Scott Drew realized like halfway through the year is like, hey, sorry, I'm starting the freshman. Like the Rob Wright's better than you, right? And they find, Jeremy Roach is out for a little bit, so like Rob Wright got to show him that he was the better player. But like even towards the end of the year, like we were like, just start Rob Wright.
Yep.
Um, and that can't be understated, right? An Elite Eight point guard was benched for a freshman, and it was the right move. So yeah, like BYU, that's a massive loss for Baylor. And again, luckily he's staying in the Big 12, so we'll get to see plenty of him because that BYU team is going to be insanely fun this year. Or
Yeah.
yeah, this upcoming year.
Yeah. Baylor added Michael Rataj from Oregon State, who is the number
Yep.
30 ranked player in On Three's rankings, and Obi Agbim from Wyoming, 36th ranked player on Three's rankings. Agbim is a 6'3" point guard. Rataj is a wing. Am I correct on that?
Yes. Yep.
Um,
And then
so
also JJ White as well from Omaha.
thank you. Yes. So and
Yeah.
then yeah, JJY as well. Um, it's a really good haul. I
Hmm.
now still just want to see them at a 5. I'm
Yeah.
tired of watching Baylor without a 5 is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. That
I
that's
just
that's fair.
at a 5, dude. I know
Yeah.
you can get point guards in the portal. I know you can get scorers in the portal. I know you can get 5-star freshmen. Just go get a
Yeah.
5 that can block shots and rebound and dunk on people. It sounds rudimentary, but literally it's the most pressing thing right now for Baylor.
Yes.
So
No,
I don't
100%. I think they did a good job this year, or so far this year. Rataj, Agbeam, and White, I think, fill good holes all around, right? Celestine gone, obviously. Love gone, obviously. Edgecombe gone, and so right, the biggest one, obviously, is still in college. But these 3 players are like they're going to come in, they're going to play right away. They're probably going to start, and so like I think, like you mentioned, outside of the 5, which now becomes obviously the priority. Um, I think Baylor was quick to fix a lot of their holes and a lot of their errors so far. So yeah, but yeah, it's all contingent on if they can get that center spot.
you know, they only signed one recruit in the 2025 class,
Yeah.
Tunde Yesufu. who is taking the world up by storm because he looks like Anthony Edwards and he wears the number 5 and he says his favorite player is Anthony Edwards. I don't know if you've seen these clips.
Oh, we got a what's his face in
Yeah,
Nebraska
we have Daniel
situation.
Raiola, but for Anthony Edwards. But
Uh,
he is at Yesufu is at the Nike Summit over there right now, so I keep seeing highlights of him, and he looks awesome. So
okay.
again, you have a star freshman who is a
Yep.
top 20 player in the class coming in, so no concerns there.
Hmm.
Now it's just about like I'm trying to look at the returning roster right now
Right.
before I say anything crazy. I'm on the women's side still. I can't flip over to the men's for some reason. Um, but let me just look at the roster before we continue. Yeah, JJ White. So Rob Wright's gone, Jaden Nunn's gone, Jeremy Roach gone. They'll return Jason Asamoah. VJ's gone. Langston Love should be back. Norshad Omir's gone. Josh Ojenwuna should be back. He's a junior. And that's pretty much it. You're like you said, Celestine's gone, and then you just have a bunch of players that we don't really know a ton about. So
Hmm.
Baylor is there's pressure on Baylor, I think, to swing big and to get some big names here.
Oh yeah.
So all right, let's roll through these real quick. Oh, we got all right, the last big one. Pop Isaacs is going
Oh
to Houston.
yes.
We have to talk about Pop Isaacs again for the first time
Oh
in a year.
boy. Yeah. 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 I mean, okay, so he went to Creighton, didn't play the whole year, right? He got hurt. Started well-ish, right? He's
Yeah.
pretty well. Um, look, what do you want? What do you want me to say about Pop Isaacs? He is who he is. Um, if this is a sixth man role, I think it's great. I think it's a great signing. If it's anything more than that, if he's supposed to be the LJ Cryer of this team, my stock in Houston just went down a little bit. If they're counting on him to be the plug and play for LJ Cryer, now if he's the plug and play for like sophomore year Emmanuel Sharp off the bench, okay, I'm willing to listen to that.
Exactly.
I don't know. Again, as far as defense is concerned, I'll see it when I'll believe it when I see it. There's a reason why no one at Tech was upset that he left.
Yeah, this doesn't even I mean I look they added
It was
LJ
baffling. It
Cryer.
was baffling.
Yeah, it was, and like you said, if it's off the bench, I actually love this addition. Like if it's
Yeah, yeah,
off the
100%.
bench and you just bring him in as so that way you don't have to play like Malik Wilson or something.
Right,
Cool, dude.
right.
I'm all for it. This dude can shoot. He gets shots up. He comes in. Awesome. But if he is starting at the 2 for Houston this next year, that is a
I know who I'm putting in 20 pick and rolls. I'll just say that much.
yeah, he doesn't force turnovers, he doesn't rebound. I'm not gonna say he doesn't try on defense. We'll just need to see it before we believe it. But there's a reason why Graham
Mhm.
McCasland was fine moving on from him.
Yeah.
I can't
There's a reason why
imagine.
that whole team didn't play defense. There's a reason why Tech just like, you know what, screw this. We're just gonna play,
Yeah,
throw the ball out there and we're just gonna run tempo. Like there was Grant didn't even pretend to play defense his first year.
bro. You know how many threes he shot in the last year he was at Tech in 34 games?
How many?
249.
Oh my god, that's so many threes.
Was it like 9 a game,
He
8
had
a
the he
game?
had the ultimate. Again, they also needed him too because like they had no one else
Yeah,
on that team.
but like I mean, in 8 games at Creighton, he shot 63s. And they didn't need him. They had Ashworth and they had
Yeah.
Kalkbrenner. I mean, I'm just
Look,
saying,
yeah,
like,
like if he is a 36, 7, 8 plus percentage 3-point shooter off the bench, awesome signing. Way to go.
if he starts,
We'll
then
see.
that's a lot of
We'll
pressure.
see. We'll see. This feels like a too much dip on your chip signing for Houston, where it's like y'all feel yourselves a little too much after
Like, dude,
after turning around LJ Cryer's
I was
career.
gonna
I was like, oh, he's like, hey, we can fix this, guys. Like, I don't think that's 1-to-1, buddy.
they fixed LJ Cryer and they said Pop Isaacs, close enough. Bring him in. Bring him in.
It's like I don't know,
Um,
man. One guy was on a national title contender, and the other guy was chucking
jumped
up
from
shots,
Texas Tech.
and yeah. Uh,
Watch him have a great year. I love it. Um,
He might as well. He might. Who
he
knows,
might.
man?
All right, real quick. Lamar Wilkerson leaves Sam Houston, which is obviously important news for us. He was an awesome
Oh yeah.
player. He's getting looked at from everybody. Like I tweeted, Kentucky would be a great fit. I don't remember the other names in that group as well, but I think it was like Auburn, Kentucky, something else. So
Good for him, man. 20 points a game, man. He
yeah, and he
deserves it.
stayed. How long was he at Sam? 3 years? Am I?
About, yeah, I'd say
Let me
about
just
3.
look it up before I misremember it here.
I think he was a
Lamar,
JUCO guy out of,
yeah,
and
3
then
years.
to
3 years at
yeah,
Sam Houston. So he gave it his all over there.
yeah.
We'll see where he ends up. And then Texas added Dalen Swain from Xavier, coming with Sean Miller over there. That is a good pickup for Texas. He's the
And
34th
then
ranked.
also the big man from FAU as well.
Yes, the big man who was a freshman from FAU, all freshman team in the American. So they're getting started over there. It's still kind of early in the portal process. Players
Yeah.
can still enter until the 23rd. So we'll see how all that plays out. But yeah, there's the transfer portal podcast. I feel like we're caught up, but then I feel like there's still a lot to talk about. But
There's still a lot. We'll talk more because I mean, like teams like UTEP lost their whole team, so
yeah,
like we're gonna have to talk about whoever they
North
get.
Texas, Jordan Lorient
North
entered the
Texas,
portal.
Lorient,
Chad
UTSA lost
Wright,
everybody again.
UTSA. UTSA signed somebody good though. Austin Nunez.
They did sign.
Um,
Okay, I did see that.
they added Austin Nunez, who was originally Ole
Was Ole Miss,
Miss,
right? Yeah.
and kind of bounced
Arizona
around a little
State, wasn't he this past year?
bit. I think so.
Okay, yeah.
No, spent his freshman season at Arizona State, then went to Ole Miss for his sophomore season, and this past year was, I don't know. Let me see.
Hanging around.
Chilling. Oh, he went back to Arizona State. Yes, you're right. Sorry.
Okay, okay.
Only played 4 games though. But
Nice.
regardless, talented kid. We'll see. But
Yeah.
yeah, everybody's losing all their players in the American, and that happens every year. So
Oh yeah.
we'll see. All right. Thank you all for joining us. Leave us a like, comment, share, subscribe if you haven't already. We'll keep you updated with the latest news. We'll start scheduling some interviews, and we'll start, getting everything going for the off season. So appreciate y'all for joining us. We'll talk to y'all later.